So according to The Athletic, the Miami Dolphins inquired about running back Josh Jacobs, but were told that the Las Vegas Raiders said that he was not available, league sources tell Vic Tafur. For the Raiders to not have any interest in trading Josh Jacobs, especially with everything that has been going on for the past months, goes to show that Josh McDaniels and this team knows what's going on behind closed doors, and could mean that they're expecting Josh Jacobs to get a deal done with the team sometime soon, especially before week 1. There was a lot of reports going around earlier this week that Josh Jacobs will soon end his holdout and will sign with the team before the Broncos game. And even though Josh Jacobs went out there and said that he never said anything like that, I still came out and told you guys that I believe that Josh Jacobs will be here no matter what he says. So with this breaking news coming out late last night, I think kind of shows you guys that we should be expecting Josh Jacobs back in the silver and black real soon.
And you tell them one thing, just win, baby. It's because you're not feeling loosey.
What is going on, Raider Nation? It's your boy Samoa Raider back at it again with another video, and this week is the last week of preseason and the last week of training camp before we finally cut the rosters down to 53. There's going to be a lot going on in the next couple of days, but today I just want to talk a little bit about some of the latest news that's just been going on, and also where I feel like this team will be going this season. And Colin Cowherd actually had some things to say about this team. It's kind of positive news for the Raiders. I know we don't really get a lot of positive news, but I'll take it when we get it. As you guys may already know, next Tuesday will be the deadline for every team to cut their roster down to 53. Now, I'm actually going to drop a roster prediction, the 53-man roster prediction on Monday, the day before we finally make those cuts. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And some other news, one player that will not make the final 53, at least right now, is linebacker Darien Butler, because he was placed on IR just yesterday, ending his 2023 season. Really sad news. Of course, we know that our linebacker room don't really have a lot of depth, so losing a guy like him is a huge loss. Hopefully we can address this need maybe after the cuts, because every team out there is going to be cutting some big players, especially at that position. So I'm definitely going to look out for that. Now, the Raiders actually added to the roster today, bringing in 2 players. First, defensive tackle Doug Costin, I don't know how you say his name, and linebacker Isaac Darkangelo. Hopefully I said his name right. But Costin signed with the Jags as an undrafted free agent in 2020, played 12 games his rookie year, and made 1 appearance in 2021, having stints in Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, the USFL, and the XFL. In his career, he's totaled 33 tackles and 1 fumble recovery. Now, as far as Darkangelo, he is entering his rookie year this year as an undrafted free agent. Of course, these are camp bodies that are just brought on right now to fill the roster, and I'm not expecting much out of these guys to even make the final 53, but if they go out there and surprise us, then you know what? Kudos to them. Now, I do want to talk about this team. Of course, we're 2 weeks in, going into our 3rd preseason game this weekend against the Dallas Cowgirls. And so far, from what we've seen, there's a lot of hype around this team, man. We've been looking good in joint practices. We've been looking good in OTAs. We've been looking good in these first 2 preseason games. Our quarterback has been looking good. The defense has been looking good. Everything has just been looking good. Everything has just been clicking. But us Raider fans, or most of us, aren't going to believe it until we see it regular season. But I don't want to take away from what we've been showing out there in preseason. According to PFF, though, the Raiders have the 4th best defense through 2 weeks of the preseason. Keyword is, of course, the preseason. But I love what I'm hearing. I'm just hoping that this defense could keep that same energy going into the regular season. If they go out there and look the same as they did this week against the Dallas Cowboys out there in Dallas, then I'm gonna start kind of believing in them. You know what I mean? Especially now that we're going to get Tyree Wilson back. The pads are going to be put on. I don't know if he's going to play in this game. I highly doubt it, but if we do see one drive out of him, I'll be excited for that. But I am expecting, as well as most of the Raider Nation is expecting, this defense to take that next step. I've talked about this many times before in all of the videos that I've talked about, especially in those joint practices and even in the preseason games. So I hope they go out there and finish strong in this game. And some players I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on is one, Isaiah Pola-Mao for sure. I also want to see Adam Plant out there get to the quarterback. I know in these first 2 games, he's been getting really, really close, just hasn't gotten there yet. Also, I want to see David Agoa go out there and do his thing. You know, he's a guy that we brought over here that doesn't have a lot of football experience, but is slowly making his way up the ranks. Luke Masterson, you know, Curtis Bolton is a guy I'm going to be rooting for. We just learned that he grew up a Raider fan, and, you know, it's been tough being a Raider fan, but it's always good to see Raider fans that actually play for the Raiders. So, of course, he's going to be a guy that I'm going to be rooting for.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's felt like home my whole life. You know, I grew up a Raider fan, if y'all didn't know. My pops is from Vallejo, so it feels like family regardless. So, you know, I'm just grateful for the opportunity to come play for here.
Who were you a fan of growing up then?
Oh, the Raiders. Yeah. I lived in San Diego for a good chunk of my life, and then I moved up to the IE. I've been a Raider through and through. You know, it's a lot of rough years back then.
Nessa J. Silvera, Drake Thomas, all these guys are going to be people I'm going to be looking out for in this game. We're not going to see many of the starters. I'm sure we're not, because most of them are going to make the final 53, but there's going to be a lot of competition out there. And I want to ask you guys, Raider Nation, who are some players or competitions that you're going to be looking forward to watching in this week's game against the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know down in the comments below. But moving on to the offensive side of the ball, obviously the guy that has been standing out and should be like the MVP of the whole preseason so far is Aiden O'Connell. You know, a guy that I didn't expect too much out of when we drafted him, but going out there, showing what he can do. A lot of people are real big fans of him, and I know that, you know, it's tough watching him with that number 4 jersey, but to see him go out there, you know, take command of this offense, be poised in the pocket, making those big throws. I know he missed a couple of throws out there, but man, what I've seen from him in the first 2 games really has me excited about the future of the Las Vegas Raiders. And like I told you guys before, I don't think the Raiders should worry about the draft class next year with the quarterbacks coming in. I just think that they should continue to develop Aiden O'Connell behind guys like Jimmy G and possibly Brian Hoyer. I mean, Brian Hoyer, ain't nobody too worried about him. We know that the QB2 is going to be Aiden O'Connell. But before, you know, I go on yapping about this offense and talking about Jimmy G, I do want to talk about one guy that changed his tone about the Raiders. You know, in the beginning, kind of acted some type of way, but now is starting to praise the Raiders, especially after what he's seen from the preseason and moving on into the regular season. Colin Cowherd believes that the Raiders could win 10 to 12 games this year.
You know, they've looked good in the preseason. Garoppolo, when he's upright, is good. They have excellent offensive weapons. They appear to, in the 4th round, have gotten a kid out of Purdue, 2-year starter, Aiden O'Connell. Dude can play. Like, your backup now, he's free, and he can play. So, and it's easy to say it's a tough division. Is it? Do we trust the Chargers? Do we know what Denver is? Keep your eye. The Raiders are fascinating to me. It's if you have a great edge rusher, a competent quarterback who's been to a Super Bowl, star back, star weapons, that's a lot of the boxes to check. Offensive coach. There's a lot of things they have which other teams don't have. And in 2023, they have a good left tackle, a good edge rusher, star weapons, star back, competent quarterback, offensive coach. That's a lot of boxes that win 10, 12 games in this league.
Now, I do agree with Colin Cowherd 100% on this. I've been preaching this for the past couple of days and weeks. You guys already know this, and I know many of you guys might agree or disagree with me, but at the end of the day, I do believe that this team is moving in the right direction, and I know that Cowherd is starting to see that now, especially after seeing these preseason games, seeing how the team looks, seeing how McDaniels is coaching this team up. We have all the right pieces here. We're checking off all the right boxes. The only thing is, that star running back that he keeps bringing up, that's a guy that we definitely got to have back on this roster. I just hope that he can sign that franchise tag sometime soon and he could return to the team, because that's going to be a huge piece to the Raiders being contenders this year. But moving on from that, you know, I talked about that a lot in my last video. If you guys didn't check it out, man, go and check that out. But with all the praise that we were getting from Colin in this clip that obviously we just watched right now, I take it with a grain of salt, because he just be saying anything out there. Because a couple of months ago, he was saying that the Raiders should tank and go out and draft Caleb Williams next year. Now, I know there's a lot of Raider fans that agree with that notion, but I'm not one of those guys. I know that he's always going to have to spin the narrative because he talks about sports every single day, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm just going to go off of what he talked about in this video. And like I said, I do agree with him. I do think that this Raiders team checks off all the boxes. I do think that we have the right pieces here to go out there and win games. You look at the games last year, man, there was so many games that we were one score away from either tying or winning the game, but we just didn't do that. I believe that the team this year is better than they were last year. A lot of players are buying into what Josh McDaniels is preaching out here, and that's huge. You could definitely see that throughout all of the offseason. You see Max Crosby out there, Devontae Adams out there doing their things. You see Jimmy Garoppolo out there just earning the respect from his peers. Also, you know, Aiden O'Connell coming in and stepping in and showing out. You see this defense showing up. You see young guys stepping up. You got guys like Jacorian Bennett stepping up, guys like Michael Mayer stepping up. And most of these guys that are coming in, especially the rookies, they're all open to learning and getting better each and every single day. A lot of people coming into this year, Raider fans, the media, don't believe in this team. They don't believe in Jimmy G. Of course, you know, he hasn't had the best history with his health, but when he's on the field, I've been telling you guys a lot. I believe that he's going to help this team take that next step that we haven't had in quite a long time. I seen a tweet on Twitter from Flav that really embodies what Jimmy G is saying. Eastern Illinois was 2-9 when Jimmy G was a freshman. By his senior year, they were 12-2, the best record in school history. The 49ers were 1-10 when Jimmy played his first game with the team. They ended the season 6-10 after 5 straight wins. He's now on to saving another program. The man always leaves programs better than he found them and is one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks and leaders I can recall, and you would never know it because he never asked for any of the credit after he wins. Work some more miracles this year, Jimmy. You won't be forgotten by the true Niner faithful. Now, and this is, I guess, coming from a Niner fan. So after I read that, I was like, you know what? You know, they're right. You know, I feel like this Raiders organization needs saving, and maybe he could be the guy for us. You know, he's a guy that buys into McDaniel's system, knows his system, and so far has been looking good in his system and the joint practices. And even the one drive that he had, he may not have had any beautiful throws out there, but he was able and capable of driving the team down the field to score the very first touchdown of the game, which gets me excited for the season, man. I really can't wait for the season. I'm not really worried about this Dallas Cowboys game, whether we win or lose. I'm just hoping that momentum can carry on. I have a good feeling about this team this year. If we don't do good this year, then okay, I could look back at this and say, you know, I was just a dumbass Raider fan, you know. But with everything that I've been seeing, with everything that I've been reading, everything that I've been hearing, makes me real optimistic about this team. But with all that being said, these are all just speculations and opinions, but I want to get yours though, Raider Nation. Do you guys believe that this team can win 10 or more games this year? Let me know down in the comments below. With that said, before I get out of here, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, man, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. Road to 50K, baby. Until the next video though, this is your boy Raider, and your boy is, yeah.